Hi, this is Joe again with another review. I think this video I want to conclude my little run here. my run on the Superman movies is Christopher Reeve ones by discussing the fourth and final film, thank God. I consider this to be the last film because the two reboots are just are terrible. And I never saw Superman Returns, but I saw the Man of Steel. I thought it was that full of action and very little plot. And that's what superhero movies are. All action and no plot. Today. But at least the Superman movies, the ones with Christopher Reeve, and the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, and the Spider-Man, at least those movies have plots. But getting off topic, and I'm going to discuss the fourth film in this series was the 1987's Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. And if you thought that Superman 3 was bad, this one makes Superman 3 look like an Oscar-winning movie. In terms of how bad it is. Let me tell you how bad this movie is. This movie was so bad, I only lasted a month in the movie theaters. After about a month, it was pulled. That's how bad. And this came out in the year 1987, where during the summer, there was only like two movies that were really successful. Beverly Hills Cop 2, and a little movie called Dirty Dancing. All the other movies were terrible, and this one was terrible. And this was a movie that didn't have a boatload of sequels in this film, in this movie, except it had no James Bond movie, and it doesn't mention Beverly Hills Cop 2. So you figure, okay, it would be perfect for a sequel during the season, during that summer season in '87. But this movie was so bad, it's unbelievable. And the irony is that it was a movie that was written by a story based on a story that Christopher Reeve wrote, and it didn't have an interesting premise at first, but the execution was bad, and that's what everybody focused on. And this movie was pretty short; it's maybe around an hour and 35 minutes, which is the shortest Superman movie in the whole canon, even the two reboots. Because actually the story brings back the whole cast for the most part, except it doesn't have Ned Beatty in it, who played Otis, the dim-witted stooge of Lex Luthor, and also didn't bring back Miss Tessmacher. Those two characters did not come back, but everybody else came back, including Gene Hackman. He came back playing Lex Luthor, which, by that point in the series, you're tired of Lex Luthor. I mean, at least when I heard that Lex Luthor was coming back for the fourth movie, and can they pick other villains? And all the other villains in the Superman canon they could pick. Well, like I mentioned in my review for Superman 3, the original villains are supposed to be in all the time, man. And the only villains that were supposed to come back for the third film was supposed to be Brainiac and Mr. Mxyzptlk. The villain for the fifth dimension, where you say his name backwards, get sent back to the fifth dimension. That's what the villains for the third film was supposed to be. So I don't know why they couldn't have Brainiac or another villain from the Darkseid or something from the Superman from the Superman comic book series, because Darkseid was already established on TV in the Super Friends cartoon show. But I don't know why they couldn't use Darkseid. I don't know why they never brought him in there. Other than maybe Lex Luthor, I think Darkseid is just as good, just as powerful as Lex Luthor is. Or Doomsday, well, they didn't have Doomsday then, in that time in the canon. But at least bring in Darkseid. I think Darkseid would be just as good in a Superman movie. But they didn't. They brought in Lex Luthor, and they brought in his nephew. Because they didn't have Otis, they wrote him out. Excuse me, and they wrote him out of the series. So they brought in Lex Luthor's nephew, who was played by Jon Cryer, before 2.5 Men, and he was also in the movie Pretty in Pink, with Molly Ringwald. So he was in there playing Lex Luthor's dim-witted nephew. I mean, it's what a joke. Well, and of course, Lex Luthor breaks out of jail. He's running a chain gang in the middle of the desert. Gets broken out by his nephew, and he goes back. And Lex Luthor goes back to Metropolis, only one thing in mind, and that's to get even with Superman. While that was going on, the Daily Planet gets sold to this guy who owns a whole bunch of tabloid newspapers across the country, and tends to reformat the paper to make it more look like a tabloid newspaper. And he has his daughter, his paper, Mariel Hemingway, to actually physically run the paper. This guy would pay all the bills, but his daughter would physically run the paper and operate it. And of course, at first they want to make it into like a tabloid, like I said, a tabloid newspaper. But the more Mariel Hemingway works at the Daily Planet, the more she feels that it should go back to it, the original format, and try to improve that format, which was of course kind of like being working in the New York Times type attitude. All the news is fit to print. Unless you had to be a Republican. With the Daily News, with the Times blasting Trump, blasting Republicans all the time. But the Daily Planet wasn't treated everybody fairly. And, politically, and put all the city stuff in there. But kind of like the Daily News and New York Post is put all the city stuff in there. And Mariel Hemingway just wanted to lay off on that stuff and go back to have the paper continue the way it was. And the father says, the new paper's losing money, we have to do it this way to make more money. And while that is going on, there was a subplot where the arms race is accelerating, it's making it worse. Between the United States and Russia, they're making more nuclear missiles. And there was this kid in the school, well, not in Metropolis, who like in the Midwest or something, says, hey, why don't we get Superman to help negotiate the arms race deal, the arms deal? And he said, oh, that's a good idea. So this kid writes to the Daily Planet, said, okay, get Superman to maybe help out with this nuclear arms race. And so Superman's thinking about it, and he, of course, he is forbidden to interfere with human history. But on the other hand, he says, look, Krypton blew up. Maybe I could help prevent Earth from facing the same fate as Krypton. And he's talking to the elders, through the the crystals and the machines and stuff that's in the Fortress of Solitude. And they all tell him, no, don't do it. If Earth blows up, it always goes on another planet. I mean, that's what they told Superman. They said, if Earth blows itself up, it always go somewhere else. And that was like the lamest excuse for Superman to say, okay, I help out. So that's what he does. He rounds up all the missiles, puts them in outer space, and throws all the missiles into the sun. Which I don't think is such a good idea, because maybe the sun will blow up with all the nuclear energy for these missiles. Well, Superman's doing that. Lex Luthor decides to steal a piece of hair of Superman's hair that's on display in the museum to maybe clone Superman. Which, of course, he eventually does with the help of one of the nuclear missiles that Lex, hijacks to use the nuclear fusion in the missile to create a clone of Superman, which turned out to be a villain called Nuclear Man, which is one of the dumbest names for a Superman villain. And they had a big fight, or a couple of big fights, which, so for me, that's the only thing to say this movie is a fight between Nuclear Man and Superman, because they have even powers. But of course, we all know what happens. Superman, major spoiler, Superman does win in the end, destroys Nuclear Man, and of course, what happened with the Daily Planet was that Perry White buys back a lot of the shares from the guy who bought the paper from, and says, guess what, guys? Now I own the paper. So you are out, because I'm the major stockholder, then you out. So, kicked him out. Well, I don't think he kicked Mariel Hemingway's character out, but kicked her father out. So now we're going to run the paper the way it should be. And Henry says, "I'd like to help you, you know, to do that." Henry says, "Oh, okay, whatever. Despite your father, okay, whatever." And again in this movie, you did have one particular scene where Lois knew who Superman was. Also, do you know what my real name is? Yeah, of course I do. Your real name is Kal-El. So after that scene, Superman kisses her and makes her forget again, like he did in the end of Superman 2. I mean, it was so dumb. I mean, the whole thing with Nuclear Man fighting Superman. Oh, I want to fight Superman, and all that stuff. I mean, it was just bad, just horrible. And I mean, I can't say anything good about this movie because it was, in fact, that horrible. That's horrible. I mean, for a long time, this movie came out like 2 or 3 years earlier. Like around 84, possibly even 85. Then maybe it'll be as bad for the nuclear subplot of the movie, but came in 87 when the orange race was starting to die down a little bit, and we were negotiating with Russia at that time, but still, I mean, it was horrible. I mean, I can't. There's nothing good I can say about this movie, except it may be slightly better than Superman 3 with Richard Pryor, but this movie was still gone awful bad, and unfortunately, this was the last time I'm going to see Christopher Reeve as Superman. Even at that time, Christopher Reeve was very reluctant to play Superman for the 4th time, especially considering the fact all the flack the previous film had, and Canon Films took over, production of Superman 4 from Warner Brothers, and they decided to throw a whole lot of money at Christopher Reeve, and he couldn't say, it made him a deal they couldn't say no to. And so he did it for the 4th time, and this movie was a mess. And there's this one pretty dumb scene where Marigold Hemingway asked Clark Superman out, and Lois was dating Clark. So Clark was constantly running in and out, changing from Superman to Clark Kent, every few seconds, every 3 seconds, was changing back and forth between the two. And he said, "Oh, where's Clark?" I said, "Oh, where's Superman?" It was. They actually did that bit in this movie. They didn't do that in the other films, but they did it in this one, and it was so out of place and so dumb because we all know who he was, and Lois knew who he was, and he keeps remembering and forgetting. It was pathetic. Excuse me. And this movie was it was totally a waste of time. This movie, didn't even watch it. Like I said in the previous review for Superman 3, just stick to the first 2 films. Just stick to the first 2 films and you'll be alright. So that's my review of Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Please click on the video, please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at WDY.com, so WDY, C.com, that's our homepage, and Rally Reviewer. Christy Moore, please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.